Ladies, I want you to understand something. The biggest mistake people make when somebody pulls away is they start running after them. The moment he becomes distant, you call more, text more, explain more, and try harder. But listen carefully, people don't usually return because of pressure. They return because of realization. Stop chasing and create space. One of the hardest things to do when someone you care about starts pulling away is to stop chasing them. Every emotion inside you tells you to do the opposite. You want to call more, text more, explain more, and somehow convince them to stay. You think if you just say the right thing or show enough love, they'll suddenly realize what they're losing. But what often happens is the more you chase, the more distance gets created. You have to understand something important. Attraction, respect, and emotional connection cannot be forced. Nobody wants to feel trapped into choosing someone. Real feelings grow in freedom, not pressure. When a man steps back, many people make the mistake of making him the center of their entire focus. They start checking their phone every few minutes. They overthink every message. They replay conversations in their head and search for hidden meanings. Slowly, they stop living their own life and begin waiting for someone else to decide their happiness. That's where things need to change. Creating space does not mean becoming rude. It does not mean ignoring someone to play games. It means respecting yourself enough not to chase after attention that is moving away. Space gives people clarity. When someone always has access to you no matter what they do, they never get the opportunity to feel your absence. They know you'll answer immediately. They know you'll stay available no matter how little effort they give. That removes the chance for appreciation. But when you step back and return your attention to your own life, something different happens. You begin reconnecting with yourself. You start noticing your goals again. You spend time with people who value you. You remember that your identity is bigger than one relationship. And sometimes that's exactly what changes the energy. People often notice value when they can no longer take it for granted. Stop trying to remind someone why they should choose you. Your job is not to convince. Your job is to become the person who knows their own worth. If somebody misses you, they know where to find you. If somebody wants to talk, they will. If somebody wants to reconnect, they'll make effort. Until then, don't stand at the door waiting. Keep moving, keep growing, keep becoming. Because creating space isn't about making someone come back. It's about making sure you never lose yourself while waiting for someone else. And the truth is, confidence becomes visible when desperation disappears. So stop chasing, take your energy back, equate room, and let actions reveal what words never could. Build your own value and confidence. One thing you have to understand is this. When somebody pulls away, your first responsibility is not to get them back. Your first responsibility is to get yourself back. Too many people make the mistake of believing their value comes from being chosen. They think attention equals worth. They think if someone leaves, it means they weren't enough. That thinking creates fear, and fear makes people act in ways that push others even farther away. Listen carefully. Your value was never created by someone deciding to stay. If somebody entered your life, they discovered something good in you. If they walked away, that does not automatically erase everything you are. But here's where people lose power. The moment someone becomes distant, they stop investing in themselves. They stop focusing on growth. Their confidence drops. Their routines disappear. Their goals get forgotten. Their entire emotional state becomes controlled by another person's decisions. That cannot become your story. You want to become attractive again? Start becoming strong again. Not loud, not fake, not trying to prove anything. Real confidence doesn't announce itself. Real confidence shows up in how you carry yourself, how you speak, and how you continue moving forward even when things don't go your way. Start rebuilding your world. Wake up with purpose. Learn something new, improve your skills, take care of your appearance because you respect yourself, not because you want validation. Ride more, exercise, build discipline, create routines that make you proud of your own life. Because confidence is not created overnight. Confidence grows every time you keep promises to yourself. Every workout completed, every goal reached, every moment you choose growth instead of waiting. People can feel that energy. You know what changes when your confidence grows? Your conversations change, your decisions change, your standards change. You stop accepting effort that doesn't match your value. You stop begging for consistency. You stop chasing people who are unsure. And here's something powerful. When someone sees that your happiness no longer depends on their attention, it creates a completely different impression. They remember the version of you that needed reassurance. Now they see someone who stands on their own. That doesn't mean becoming cold. It means becoming complete. There's a difference. A complete person can love deeply without losing themselves. A complete person can care without becoming dependent. A complete person knows that relationships add to life. They do not become life. And confidence creates something very attractive, peace. People are drawn to people who know who they are, not because they're perfect, but because they don't collapse every time circumstances change. So if you want to become unforgettable, stop trying to become impossible to lead, become impossible to ignore. Build your own values, invest in yourself, grow your confidence, and create a life so meaningful that whether someone returns or not, you still wake up knowing you're becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more valuable than yesterday. Don't make him your whole world. One of the biggest mistakes people make in relationships is slowly handing over pieces of their identity until one day they realize they've built their entire world around one person. It doesn't happen all at once. It starts small. You cancel plans more often. You stop making time for your hobbies. Your goals become less important. Your mood starts depending on their messages, their attention, their approval. Before you notice it, your happiness is no longer yours. And when someone becomes your whole world, fear enters the relationship. Every disagreement feels dangerous. Every delayed reply feels personal. Every moment of distance feels like losing everything. That pressure changes your energy. People can feel when they are carrying the responsibility of being someone's entire source of happiness. That kind of pressure can create distance instead of closeness. Listen carefully, love is powerful, conscience is beautiful. But no relationship should require you to disappear. You should never become smaller to keep somebody close. You should never stop being yourself just to make someone stay. Healthy attraction happens when two complete people choose each other, not when one person becomes the entire identity of the other. That's why you must protect your own world. Keep your goals, keep your passions, keep your friendships. Keep growing as an individual, because when you continue living a meaningful life, something incredible happens. You bring energy into the relationship instead of constantly needing energy from it. You become someone who shares happiness instead of depending on happiness. Think about the people who naturally attract others. They usually have something going on in their lives. They care, they love, but they also have purpose. Their identity doesn't disappear inside relationships, and that balance creates respect. If somebody pulls away and your entire life collapses, it becomes harder to think clearly. You start negotiating your standards. You begin accepting less than you deserve. You become willing to sacrifice your peace just to avoid losing them. But when your world stays intact, distance doesn't destroy you. You still have things to wake up for. You still have goals. You still have direction. You still remember who you are. That changes everything, because confidence isn't saying, I don't need anybody. Confidence is saying, I can love someone deeply without losing myself. If somebody chooses to leave, it hurts, but your future still exists. Your dreams still exist. Your value still exists. Never place your entire identity into one person's hands. People should become part of your life, not the definition of it. And something interesting happens when you stop making someone your whole world. You become more present, less anxious, less controlling, less afraid. You stop trying to force outcomes. You allow relationships to breathe, and people often respond differently to that energy because confidence and independence create space for real connection. So keep your own routines, keep your own ambitions, keep becoming, care deeply, but stay rooted in yourself, because the strongest relationships are not built by two people holding on to each other out of fear. They're built by two people who each have a life and choose to walk through it together. Never forget this. If your entire world depends on one person staying, then you gave away too much of yourself. Build a life that still feels meaningful, exciting, and complete, whether someone is standing beside you or not. Stay emotionally calm and unavailable to drama. One of the strongest things a person can learn in relationships is how to stay emotionally calm when emotions are trying to pull them in every direction. Most people think power comes from saying more, reacting faster, proving points, or winning arguments. But real strength often looks quieter than that. When somebody becomes distant, sends mixed signals, changes their behavior, or creates confusion, the natural reaction is emotional urgency. You want answers immediately. You want certainty. You want to know what changed and why. That feeling is understandable, but acting from panic rarely creates the result people hope for. Many people believe emotional reactions show love. They think if they care deeply, they should respond immediately, explain every feeling, defend every misunderstanding, and fight for every moment of attention. But constant emotional intensity can become exhausting. There is a difference between expressing feelings and losing control of them. Emotional calm does not mean pretending nothing affects you. It does not mean becoming cold. It means choosing your response instead of allowing emotions to choose for you. Think about what happens during conflict. One person becomes upset, the other becomes defensive, mess get longer, voices get louder, small problems become huge problems. Soon, nobody remembers the original issue because emotions took over. Now compare that to someone who remains centered. They listen, they think, they respond instead of react. They don't chase arguments. They don't turn every difficult moment into a crisis. That energy feels different. People trust calm energy. People feel safer around emotional stability. And here's something important. Drama often creates temporary attention, but damages long-term connection. If every disagreement becomes emotional chaos, people begin associating the relationship with stress instead of peace. That doesn't mean accepting poor treatment. It means refusing to participate in unnecessary emotional battles. You don't need to respond to every mood. You don't need to explain yourself endlessly. You don't need to win every conversation. Sometimes strength means stepping back and saying less. You know what confidence sounds like? Not silence, not anger. Confidence sounds steady. Confidence says what it means without emotional explosions. Confidence trusts that truth does not need to be forced. When somebody pulls away, staying emotionally calm sends a powerful message. It says your life continues. It says your peace matters. It says you are capable of handling uncertainty without losing yourself. And being unavailable to drama doesn't mean unavailable to love. It means unavailable to confusion, manipulation, and endless emotional cycles. If someone only shows up when there is chaos, that's not connection. If someone only values attention during arguments, that's not stability. Protect your energy. Choose conversations that solve problems instead of creating them. Choose honesty over emotional games. Choose self-control over emotional reactions. You do not have to match somebody's inconsistency. You do not have to mirror somebody's confusion. You do not have to become loud to be heard. There is something powerful about someone who stays composed when circumstances change. That kind of energy creates respect. That kind of energy creates clarity. And sometimes the most noticeable change happens when you stop feeding unnecessary drama and start protecting your peace. Because people remember how they felt around you. If being around you feels like pressure, conflict, and emotional storms, they pull away. But if your presence feels calm, grounded, and emotionally secure, that leaves a different kind of impression. So speak clearly, feel deeply, care honestly, but never allow emotions to take control of your direction. Stay calm, stay centered, and let your peace become stronger than the need to react. Focus on growth, not waiting. One of the easiest traps to fall into when somebody leaves, becomes distant, or stops giving attention is putting your entire life on pause. You tell yourself you'll start again when they message. You'll feel better when they come back. You'll move forward once things become clear. Days pass, weeks pass, and without realizing it, your life becomes a waiting room. Waiting feels productive because emotionally it creates the illusion that you're holding on, staying loyal, or showing how much you care. But waiting without growth slowly steals your confidence. It keeps your energy attached to something you cannot control. You start checking for signs, watching stories, rereading conversations, imagining future moments instead of living present ones. And the difficult truth is this: while you are waiting, life keeps moving. Growth changes everything. When you focus on growing, your attention shifts from questions you cannot answer to actions you can control. You stop asking, when will they come back? And you start asking, who am I becoming? That question changes your entire direction. Growth doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes growth means waking up on time. Sometimes growth means finishing something you started. Sometimes growth means taking care of yourself even when emotions tell you not to. Sometimes growth means learning to enjoy your own company again. The important thing is movement, because movement creates confidence. When you improve your routines, your skills, your mindset, your health, your goals, something interesting happens. You begin feeling proud of yourself again, not because someone noticed. Not because someone approved, but because you can see your own progress. That feeling is powerful. People often think attraction is about appearance or saying the perfect thing, but growth creates something deeper. It creates energy. People notice people who are moving forward, not because they're perfect, but because they carry purpose. Purpose changes your posture. Purpose changes your conversations. Purpose changes the way you enter a room. And the beautiful thing about growth is this: nobody can take it away from you. If someone leaves, growth stays. If someone changes, growth stays. If life becomes uncertain, growth stays. That's why your focus cannot become waiting, because waiting gives control away. Growth brings control back. Imagine spending months becoming stronger instead of refreshing your phone. Imagine learning new skills instead of replaying old conversations. Imagine creating opportunities instead of hoping someone notices your absence. That version of you becomes different. You stop needing proof. You stop chasing validation. You stop measuring your worth through someone else's attention. And something unexpected happens. When people see that your world did not stop, they begin seeing you differently. Not because you tried to impress them, but because growth naturally creates presence. And if someone returns one day, you won't meet them as the same person who was left behind. You'll meet them as someone who kept moving, someone who respected their own future, someone who turned disappointment into development. That's real power, not waiting to be chosen, choosing to keep building. So keep reading, keep learning, keep improving, keep creating, keep becoming. Don't count days, count progress. Don't pause your life hoping someone returns to restart it. Build a life so full of purpose that nobody becomes responsible for creating your happiness, because growth doesn't just change what you have. Growth changes who you become. Let actions create attraction, not pressure. One of the biggest misunderstandings people have when they want someone back is believing that more words will create more feelings. They think if they explain enough, remind enough, convince enough, or show enough emotion, the other person will suddenly realize everything in return. But feelings rarely grow through pressure. People can hear your words and still not feel connected. People can understand your message and still need space. That's why actions matter more than emotional chasing. When somebody becomes distant, many people go into overdrive. They send long messages. They ask for answers every day. They explain their intentions repeatedly. They try to prove they're different. They try to remind the other person of memories, promises, and emotions. But attraction cannot be negotiated. Connection cannot be argued into existence. You cannot convince someone to feel something they are not ready to feel. What you can do is become the kind of person whose actions speak louder than explanation. Socks that show stability, socks that show confidence, socks that show self-respect. Anybody can promise change. Anybody can make emotional speeches. But real change becomes visible. If you say you respect yourself, show it through your standards. If you say you're growing, show it through your habits. If you say you're confident, show it through your choices. People pay attention to consistency more than declarations. Think about someone who constantly says they're happy but spends every day complaining. Eventually, words lose value. Now think about someone who says very little but continues improving, moving forward and showing calm confidence. That leaves an impression because actions create evidence. And here's something powerful. Pressure often creates resistance. The more somebody feels pushed, the more they protect their space. Not because they dislike you, but because people naturally resist feeling control. That's why trying to force conversations, force decisions, or force outcomes usually creates more distance. Instead, allow your actions to communicate. Be respectful. Be calm. Be consistent. Continue living your life. Continue becoming stronger. Continue creating peace in your world. That energy says more than repeated explanations ever could. And this is important. Letting actions speak does not mean pretending not to care. It means expressing care with dignity. You can tell somebody how you feel once. You can communicate honestly. But after that, let your behavior carry the message. Let your life show emotional maturity. Let your choices show self-respect. Let your growth show your value. There is something attractive about people who don't need to constantly announce who they are. They simply become it. If you are kind, people will experience kindness. If you are confident, people will feel confidence. If you are growing, people will notice growth. You don't need endless reminders. You need alignment between your words and your actions. And something surprising happens when you stop applying pressure. You become lighter. You stop trying to control timing. You stop needing immediate responses. You stop measuring every interaction. You allow relationships to breathe. That freedom changes the energy. Sometimes people return, sometimes they don't. But regardless of the outcome, your actions leave something stronger than emotional pressure ever could. They leave respect. They leave clarity. They leave an example of someone who values themselves, because attraction is not built through convincing. It's built through experience. People remember how your presence felt. People remember consistency. People remember peace. So stop trying to prove your worth through endless effort. Say what you mean. Live what you say. Stay patient. Stay grounded. And let your actions quietly tell the story your words no longer need to explain.